Yo, what's going on? YouTube wanted to make this quick PM session trade recap. So this is the setup from PM session today, August 31st. So if you guys watched my AM session video, you guys know that it was kind of a hit and miss day with one successful trade and then a couple losers. So after the end of AM session, getting into New York lunch, I said that I wanted to see price deliver to opening range low, take that out. And then after we did that, I wanted to see continued bullishness because to me, we were still bullish on the higher time frames. And that did pan out the way that we anticipated. So first thing is first, we took out opening range low. That was confirmation number one. Once we started displacing back up, instead of waiting for a market structure shift, which would come after taking this high, what I did was I double checked with ES to see if there was any SMT divergence at the lows. And at that time, there was some SMT at the low. So we see price here on the S&P putting in a lower low right here. And then on NQ at that same exact time, we see price putting in a higher low. So because we have that SMT present, I do not need to wait for a market structure shift. And you could just enter right off of the fair value gap and you could rock and roll that way. So as you guys can see, price moves up and we have a fair value gap, the only fair value gap right here. And price does very gently, barely taps into that fair value gap, as you guys can see right there. So price enters it literally by like one or two ticks and then very quickly and rapidly expands higher, taking out this high. And here would have been target number one, which is the lunchtime, the lunch hour highs. And then this is basically just a high from AM session, which also is the high of one of the macros. And ultimate target was going to be this daily fair value gap, which we were aiming for from the very beginning, but we did not have the juice to do so. Just a disclaimer, there was a reentry opportunity right here on the 5-minute before we reached any targets. This was a 5-minute fair value gap that lines up with this 5-minute breaker block. So that could have been a reentry opportunity on a higher time frame. And then price still delivered through this high, and through this high. Still obviously not getting to that ultimate TP. But once we displaced back down into the range, I basically was no longer interested in getting long or entering any new longs or anything like that. Didn't even know if we did have the juice to make it to that high, which obviously we did not. So the unfortunate part about this trade for me personally, guys, is I actually missed out on it, and I'm just going to show you why. So the reason I missed out on this is because when price did this initial breaker structure back to the upside, I drew my gone box from the swing low to the swing high, which you guys can see I already have one drawn up here. But this is equilibrium, and this is the 1-minute order block. So because this fair value gap wasn't in discount, I set my limit order on top step here. So instead of just getting in here, I set my limit order here and quickly realized that that was, not going to pan out and not going to come pick me up because we moved away pretty quickly, which is a little unfortunate because even if you look at like this reentry opportunity on the 5-minute and let's say you had the same logic and you were going to draw your gone box up from this low to this swing high right here, you can see that price does return to the 5-minute fair value gap. It returns to this breaker, but it doesn't ultimately return to equilibrium. So, continuing to use that logic for your entries, both trades would have been missed out on, unfortunately. And that is what happened to me today. Got blue balled as far as that goes, but there were some people that did just snag this entry because that is what we would normally do. If you have that SMT that's prominent at the lows on a higher time frame, you get that initial displacement back up after a liquidity run. You're always usually good to go to just take that entry. And there were people in the Discord that did after I alerted this setup. I guess you could just say I was being a little bit too nitpicky by having my limit order set here instead of here, but it is what it is. I just wanted to include this in today's trade recaps just because I did call it out in the Discord, getting long from this area, and there were people that did capitalize and execute and took advantage of this little move up. I'm sure there were some people that did the same thing as me and missed out on it. So there was kind of a mixed bag. It is what it is. Ultimately got a nice move that we wanted to see in PM session. Still pretty disappointed that we didn't make it to that daily fair value gap. And I'm pretty surprised about that. The only thing I can think of as to maybe why that was the case, if I delete some of these drawings so it's a little bit less crowded. If I can think of maybe why that is the case, this daily fair value gap initially is right here. And obviously you guys can see that price has already tapped into that one time, but forget the fair value gap at that point. For me, what's also prominent up here is these equal highs. They're not exact equal highs, but they're relative equal highs. So for me, it's still surprising that this isn't traded through. Obviously, I think we still will get there, but looking at this with the daily fair value gap perspective, there's obviously a volume imbalance up above here as well, still left open. So including these equal highs, it was really surprising and just kind of disappointing that price didn't deliver all the way up there today, which I really expected it to. I feel like we didn't really deliver to any significant price run areas today on the daily time frame. If you guys look at the daily candle, it's basically just pretty much a doji on NQ. So yeah, like I said, pretty disappointed that we didn't get that delivery there, which I was anticipating for pretty much the entirety of today for the most part. But yeah, just wanted to make this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this. Let me know if you guys caught this. But nonetheless, still a very good trade for anybody that was able to capitalize on this. Tomorrow is NFP day, so I don't know if I'll be trading. I'm not completely closed off to it. I might trade. I'm leaning more towards that I won't because of NFP. But if price action is clean and I have a very clear draw on liquidity, a very clear bias with an A+ setup, then I'm okay putting risk on, for a trade, if that is the case. But if you guys are done for the week, the good news is the month of August is officially over. This was the last setup of the month, and I am excited to get into some fall price action and turn the page into a brand new month. So I hope you guys did well today, this week, and did well in the month of August. Hopefully better than I did. This will be my first red month of the year, which is sad because we were doing very well. Every month was green, every week was green, leading up to the first week of August. So this is my first real red month. Nothing crazy. I may be down about 5% or so on the month, which is very easy and doable to get back. Just continuing to do what got me to this point. So it is what it is, but it's important to know that, you're going to have losses. You're going to have red weeks. You're going to have red months throughout the course of a trading year. And it's completely normal. And I just wanted to make sure that I was upfront and honest with you guys about that because it happened to me. Won't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time and probably won't be the last time either. But hopefully you guys are excited to put this month behind us and move forward into September. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.